Hi everyone, welcome to Contemporary Series. I hope you are as excited as I am to learn something new today. At the end of this lesson, students are expected to demonstrate the following. First, explain what is global demography and its importance. The second objective of this lesson is to examine the different data presented and explain the major factors affecting population changes. And lastly, explain what is the Philippine Family Planning Program and its relevance to our current situation. So what is global demography? Global demography is defined as a statistical study of human population, especially with reference to size and density, distribution, and vital statistics. The demography comes from the two Greek words demos, which means the people, and graphy, which means writing about or recording something. The demography represents a study of statistics such as birth, death, incidence, or disease, which illustrates the changing structure of human population. In other words, global demography is a means of analyzing an individual and the growth rate of population. It is largely concerned with answering questions about how populations change. The aim of demography is to achieve knowledge about the composition, organization, and distribution of population. During this pandemic, demography matters because the COVID-19 is causing health, social, and economic challenges which are directly related to demographic factors.
So why demography matters? It is said that it increases the people's interest due to the so-called demographic changes wherein it can be the underlying growth rate of the economy, structural productivity growth, living standards, saving rates, consumption, and investment. Yes, this actually gives communities information they need to plan for future investments and services. Government use demography for political observations, research purposes for the scientists, and global businesses use demography for advertising. We are now part of the globalized world. With the essence of our knowledge about history of populations, we may use paradigms in the past. Demography studies the following. Number 1 is population size, which talks about the numbers of people in a country. Number 2, population growth, which is the changes in number of people in a given geographic area over time. Number 3, population processes, which talks about fertility, mortality, and migrations. Number 4, factors related to population properties. It includes disease and socioeconomic characteristics related to mortality, family formation, labor force participation, and government policies related to fertility. Number 5, population distribution. It is the geographic distributions such as among states or between rural and rural areas. Number 6, population structures, which talks about age and sex compositions. And lastly, population characteristics, which includes education, income labor force participation, marital status, and race or ethnic group membership.
World population. As we all know, the growth of our population nowadays is one of the main concerns of many governments around the world, especially in this time of the pandemic, which is of course affecting many people all throughout the world. According to United Nations, the current world population is almost 8 billion. Global population is still growing by more than 80 million a year. However, and it most likely to continue growing for the rest of the century unless we take action. Every 2 years, the United Nations makes projection for future population growth. Its latest median projection is a population of 9.7 billion in 2050 and 10.9 billion in 2100.
So let's go on the major factors affecting the population changes. So the first major factor is crude birth rate or CBR. Crude birth rate is the number of live births in that region during the year among the average population of the year multiplied by 1,000. This rate is used when looking at fertility through the crude measure does not account for important variations in population fertility such as sex ratios, age, age distribution, postponement, or acceleration of marriage age, all of which can alter the way that the crude rate should be interpreted. So, one of the simplest way to consider population growth is through crude birth and death rates. On the worldwide basis, the difference between these rates is the rate of population growth within regions or countries. Population growth is also affected by emigration and immigration. So, as we see, the figure 2, it shows that in the both developed and developing regions, the crude birth rate has decreased by about half over the 50 years, which implies a much greater absolute reduction in developing regions. The net result of this reduction is current crude birth rate in the developing regions that is similar to that of the developed regions of 50 years ago.
Next, we're going to tackle about crude death rate and how migration affects the increase of population or the population patterns. So first, let us identify crude death rate. If we say crude death rate, it is the number of deaths per 1,000 individuals in a period of time or a year. Deaths of individuals is one way that reduce the size of population. How do we measure death rate or mortality rate? Just divide the total deaths or total population, then multiply it to 1,000. The crude death rate is very rapid. The gradual rise in the crude death rate in many countries including the Philippines results from the combination of child mortality rate and rising death rates due to an aging population. And one of the reasons why it rapidly increases is the death of individuals, especially in the country, caused by the pandemic. As of now, the number of deaths is over 15,000, so it really greatly affects the death rate of the country.
Let's move on to Philippine population. Based on United Nations data, the current population of the Philippines is approximately 110 million or 110,758,916 to be exact. That is as of Saturday, April 24, 2021, and this is the latest data we have obtained. In this manner, Philippines population has a rate of 1.41 of the total world population and is placed as number 13. We can see at the upper right side of this presentation the annual Philippines population from 1950 to 2020. So let's take a look at it. In here, we can conclude that there is a significant increase of the total number of population from each decade. The table below refers to the annual population growth rate in the Philippines, wherein the growth rate has decreased significantly since 1960, where it was 3.3% to now where it is about 1.3%. So from 3.3% to 1.3%, so their difference is about 2%. Additional information is that the fertility rate in the Philippines has decreased significantly over the years. In 1969, the fertility rate was 6.4 children per woman. Now, the fertility rate is 2.1 children per woman. Why? Bakit nga ba nagkaroon ng pagbaba ng fertility rate ng Pilipinas? Apparently, part of the reason for this is the increased utilization of contraceptives. There are various kinds of contraceptives. The condoms, the pills, the intrauterine device, what else? The contraceptive implant, and many more. And of course, the modern family planning methods. So when there is the availability of the contraceptives and the knowledge of people about the family planning methods, when they involve themselves into this, nakokontrol na nila ang kanilang mga sarili. And then, this is the reason why there is a significant impact on the decrease of the fertility rate in the Philippines. So, that would be all for the Philippines population.
The Philippine Family Planning Program's vision is to empower women and men to live healthy, productive, and fulfilling lives with the right to achieve their desired family size through quality, medically sound, and legally permissible family planning methods. There are 6 phases of family planning: quality care, choice of method, technical competence of providers, informing and counseling clients, interpersonal relations, mechanisms to encourage continuation and appropriateness and acceptability of services. The mission of Family Planning Program is through the DOH in partner with the LGUs, NGOs, private sectors, and communities shall ensure the availability of family planning information and services to men and women who need them. The goal of family planning is to provide universal access to family planning information and services whenever and wherever these are needed. Couples and individuals are free to decide and choose the family planning methods they will use based on the informed choice. They will exercise responsible parenthood in accordance to their religious, ethical values, and cultural background. This means that any family planning delivery, providers must give good counseling and ready-to-access contraceptive options, free of any provider bias for against particular methods, so that clients must exercise their rights to make informed and voluntary decisions based on accurate and up-to-date information. Counseling helps clients choose and correctly use any contraceptive method and reassures a positive impact on method adaptation, continuation, and client satisfaction. It enables them to achieve their reproductive goals and good health outcomes.